Hare Krishna, everyone. So let us start. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Narayanam Namaskrityam Naram Chaiva Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayam Udirayet Nashtaprayeshu Abhatreshu Nityam Bhagavada Sevayam Bhagatya Uttama Sloke Bhaktir Bhavate Naistike. So reading from Bhagavadam 6th canto 16th chapter 56 and 57. Okay. Ubhayam smaratha spumsa prashvapa paribodhayo anveti vetirechya tadjnanam brahma tatparam. Synonyms. Ubhayam, both types of consciousness, sleep and wakefulness. Smaratha, remembering. Pumsaha, of the person. Prashvapa, of the consciousness during sleep. Pratibodhaya, of consciousness while awake. Anveti, extends through. Vetireta, may reach beyond. Tat, that. Jnanam, knowledge. Brahma, the supreme Brahman. Tat, that. Param, transcendental. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada Ki Jai. If one's dream during sleep are merely subject matters witnessed by the supersoul, how can the living entity who is different from the supersoul remember the activities of dreams? The experience of one person cannot be understood by another. Therefore, the knower of the facts, the living entity, who inquires into the incidents manifested in dreams and wakefulness, is different from the circumstantial activities. That knowing factor is Brahman. In other words, the quality of knowing belongs to the living entity and to the Supreme Soul. Thus, the living entity can also experience the activity of dreams and wakefulness. In both stages, the knower is unchanged but is qualitatively one with the Supreme Brahman. Purport. In knowledge, the living entity is qualitatively one with the Supreme Brahman, but the quantity of the Supreme Brahman is not the same as that of living entity, who is part of Brahman. Because the living entity is Brahman in quality, he can remember the past activities of dreams and also knows the present activities of wakefulness. So those who want to recite the sloka, please raise your hands. Yat etat vim vishmridham pumso madbhavam binnam atmanah tata samsara etasya deha deho mriter mritihi. Yes, Narasimha, Venkata Narasimha Prabhuji, please go ahead.
Hare Krishna Mataji.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji.
Yadetadvismrutam pumso madbhavam vinnamatmanah tatha samsarayatasya dehadeho mrutirmrutihi. Hare Krishna Mataji.
Thank you, Prabhuji. Madhumay Krishnakant Mataji.
Hare Krishna Mataji. Pranams Mataji.
Pranas Mataji.
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya Yadetat Vismrutam Pumso Madbhavam Bhinnamatmanaha Tataha Samsarayetasya Deha Deho Mrutir Mrutihi.
Thank you, Mataji. Chitra Mohini Mataji.
Hare Krishna Mataji. Pranams Mataji.
Pranam Mataji. Hare Krishna.
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya Yadetadvistrutham pumso madbhavam binnamatmanaha tatsamsara etasya deha deho mruter mutihi. Hare Krishna Mataji. Thank you, Mataji.
Thank you, Mataji. Uttama Padma Mataji.
Hare Krishna Mataji. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya Etetadvismrutam pumso madbhavam binnamatmanah tatah samsara etasya Deha Deho Mrutirmrutihi. Hare Krishna Mataji.
Thank you, Mataji. Prananandini Mataji.
कृष्ण माताजी प्रणाम माताजी
Pranam Mataji.
ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय यद् एतद् विस्मृतं पुंसो मद्भावं भिन्नम् आत्मनः तत्संसार एतस्य देहादेहो मृतिर्मृतः
Thank you.
मृतिर्मृतिः हरे कृष्ण माताजी थैंक यू माताजी
Usha Bhatt Mataji.
हरे कृष्ण माताजी प्रणाम
Hare-
माताजी
Pranam Mataji.
ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय यदेतद् विस्मृतं पुंसो मद्भावं भिन्नमात्मनः ततः संसार एतस्य देहादेहो मृतेर्मृतिः थैंक यू माताजी हरे कृष्ण
Thank you, Mataji. Usha Daivati Mataji.
हरे कृष्ण माताजी प्रणाम माताजी ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय यत् एतत् विंशतं पुंसो मद्भावं भिन्नमात्मनः तथा संसार एतस्य देहादेहो मृतिर्मृतः थैंक यू माताजी हरे कृष्ण
Thank you, Mataji. Surya Prakash Rao Prabhuji.
हरे कृष्ण माताजी प्रणमालु
Pranam.
ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय एदेतत् विश्रुतं समुंसो मद्भावं भिन्नमात्मनः ततः संसार एतस्य देहो मुतेर्मुतिः धन्यवादाः माता हरे कृष्ण
Thank you. Madhumati Vilasini Mataji.
हरे कृष्ण माताजी दंडवत प्रणाम माताजी
Dandavat Pranam Mataji.
ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय एतद् द्विस्मृतं पुंसो मद्भावं भिन्नम् आत्मनः ततः संसार एतस्य देहात् देहो मृतिर्स्मृति थैंक यू माताजी हरे कृष्ण
Revati Mataji.
हरे कृष्ण माताजी प्रणाम माताजी ओम
Pranam.
नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय एतद्विस्मृतपुंसो मद्भावं भिन्न आत्मनः ततः संसार एतस्य देहादेहो मृतिर्मृतिः हरे कृष्ण माताजी थैंक यू वेरी मच
Thank you, Mataji. Hare Krishna. Synonyms. Yat, which, etat, this, vishmritam, forgotten, pumsaha, of the living entity, mad bhavam, my spiritual position, bhinnam, separation, atmanaha, from the supreme soul, tata, from that, samsharaha, material, conditional life, etasya, of the living entity, dehat, from one body, deha, another body, mrite, from one death, mriti, another death. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhakti Vedanta Swami Prabhupada Ki Jai. When the living entity, thinking himself different from me, forgets his spiritual identity of qualitative oneness with me in eternity, knowledge and bliss, his material conditional life begins. In other words, instead of identifying his interest with me, with mine, he becomes interested in his bodily expansions like his wife, children, and material possessions. In this way, by the influence of his actions, one body comes from another, and after one death, another death takes place. Purport. Generally, the Mayavada philosophers or persons influenced by the Mayavada philosophers think themselves as good as the Supreme Personality of Godhead. This is the cause of their conditional life. As stated by the Vaishnava poet Jagadananda Pandita in his Prema Vivarta, Krishna Bahirmukha Hana Bhoga Vanchahare Nikatastha Maya Dare Japatiya Dare. As soon as a living entity forgets his constitutional position and endeavors to become one with the Supreme, his conditional life begins. The conception of the conception that the Supreme Brahman and the living entity are equal not only in the quality but also in the quantity is the cause of conditional life. If one forgets the difference between the Supreme Lord and the living entity, his conditional life begins. Conditional life means giving up one body to accept another and undergoing death to accept another, death again. The Mayavada philosopher teaches the philosophy of the Tattvam Asi, saying you are the same as God. He forgets that Tat Tvam Asi applies in the terms of the marginal position of the living entity, who is like sunshine. There is a heat and light in the sun, and there is a heat and light in the sunshine, and thus they are qualitatively one. But one should not forget that the sunshine rests on the sun. As the Lord says in Bhagavad Gita, Brahmanohi Pratishtaham. I am the original source of Brahman. The sunshine is important because of the presence of the sun globe. It is not that the sun globe is important because of all pervasiveness of the sunshine. Forgetfulness and misunderstanding of this fact is called Maya. Because of the forgetfulness of one's constitutional position and that of the Supreme Lord, one comes into Maya or Samsara, that is a conditional life. In this regard, Madhvacharya says, Sarva Bhinnam Paramatmanam Vishmaranam Smarade Samsaret Iha Abhinnam Samsmaran Yati Tamo Nashte Atra Samshayah. That means when one thinks that the living entity is non-different in all respects from the Supreme Lord, there is no doubt that he is in ignorant. Tamaha. Om Ajnanatimirandasya Jnananjanaya Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tashmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Shri Chaitanya Manobishtam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Gadamayam Tadati Swapadandikam. He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dinabandhu Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radhakanta Namastute तप्त कांचन गौरांगी राधे वृंदावनेश्वरी ऋषभानुसुते देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिये वाञ्छकल्पदारुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्येव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः नमो ओं विष्णुपादाय कृष्णप्रेष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमती भक्तिवेदान्त स्वामिनिधि नामिने नमस्ते सारस्वते देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेष शून्यवादे पाश्चातदेशधारिणे जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधारा श्रीवासादि गौर भक्त वृंदा हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे मूगं करोति वाचालं भङ्गुं लङ्घयते गिरिं यत्कृपातम् अहं वन्दे परमानन्दमाधवं श्रीकृष्ण चैतन्य ईश्वरम्. So in continuation, so we are here, actually who is speaking? Can anyone tell?
Supreme Lord is speaking,
Supreme
Mataji,
Lord.
Ananta.
Yeah, Supreme Lord Ananta is speaking to Chitraketu. He has given the darshan. Chitraketu has glorified and he submitted his prayers. On completion of the prayers, now Lord speaks actually. So it is a continuation of the previous slokas. So he is speaking about the nature of the soul. So what is the condition of soul? And that is the natural condition of a soul is always in the liberated position, whereas it makes the path for either getting into the conditional mode because of when he thinks that he is equal to the God. So he is equal to the Lord in all respects. So we are only equal in the qualitative, not in the quantitative. So if we forget that one thing, that one philosophy, obviously we would like to lord it over anything. Like the Supreme Lord is managing everything, he is controlling everything, he is the cause of all causes. So like that, this Jivatma, who is a tiny entity, very, very small entity, thinks that he is always the great. So when one develops such an attitude, so obviously his conditional life starts at that moment. So where the conditional life starts for a living entity, this is the condition. So here there are that means in dreams, So it's a very wonderful analogy actually. If one dreams during sleep, so generally dreams will come. So especially when we are in that is six defects like kama, krodha, lobha, moha, mada, makshara. So our thought process in the day-to-day activities will be so much immersed actually. So the impact of thinking the day-to-day activities rigorously, we will certainly, there will not be a time to think about the Lord also. But a person who has entered into Krishna conscious, they know that we need to give time, or all the time should be for Krishna, wherein we would like to contribute at least whenever we are able to think, at least we'll be we'll be immersed in the thoughts of Lord Krishna. But a person who is not in the God conscious or Krishna conscious, they'll be actually surrounded by, their thought process will be always surrounded by what actually? Whatever is happening surrounding them or internally, like with Adhyatma or Adi Bhautika or Adi Devika, all those things. So the miseries or some enjoyment, whatever the subject matter is going on, is one majorly will be related to the material things. So such type of people will have, that is the more the thought process, the more the impact, and then it will get stored in the memory. So there are consciousness and subconscious level also now. So if it impacts the subconscious level, automatically it will have an impact in the night time also while sleeping. So the generally a person who is in the spiritually awakened position, the dreams will not be, that is the dreams will not be there much actually, very rare. So because the smaranam is full for the Supreme Lord. So if we are having this is the logic, this is the analogy actually we need to think, or the analysis part. So whatever we are having in the day-to-day activities, and what is impacting us more, either on the spiritual thing or on the material thing, that will be always stored in the memory. So that only will come back. For example, if a person is fearful, so he will be thinking about how to mitigate the situation. Obviously, that same thing will get stored, and then we may get even a horror movie also in the night. So like that also. Sometimes we wouldn't have had any thought process about a person, but they would have got into the dreams. Sometimes we'll be thinking about more about a person, that day night they will come in the dreams, like that. So these are all the different things actually will happen with respect to the dream types also. Sometimes some will be getting the darshan of Lord also, because if you are continuously thinking of the Lord, there may be opportunity. So what type of dreams we'll get is, it is with respect to the individual thoughts. Whereas in the dreams, so how actually we are able to recollect after the dream? Suddenly sometimes if something is bad dream comes, means we'll wake up immediately. There only that dream will get cut off. This type of experience we always face. And if a person is sleeping and is able to, after the dream, early morning he will get up and tell, I had a dream like this. How actually we are able to recollect? Correct now. So if one's dream during the sleep or merely subject matters witnessed by the super soul, how long the living entity who is different from the super soul remember the activities of dream. Some dreams we will not be able to recollect anything only, but we would have felt something in the dream. It may be good or it might be bad also, but how actually it happens, how we are able to recollect. So it is because of the nature of the soul. Okay, that is because of the eternal nature of the soul we are able to, and Supreme Lord is also witnessing inside. Correct now? Supreme Lord also is witnessing inside, and then this experience will be different from one person to another. Therefore, the knower of the facts, the living entity who inquires into the incidents manifested in dreams, even in the situations which we are able to visualize when we are awake, that is in the day-to-day activity, is different from the circumstantial activities. That means in the dreams, it will be totally different. The impact of the whatever activities has happened, how depth the person has taken into account, or it may be totally contradictory thing also we may get. We wouldn't have thought something would have come. So we cannot correlate the things when we are awake, whatever is happening, or whenever whatever is not we are not experiencing also in the dreams. So knowing how actually with this realization we are able to recollect the dreams is because of the eternal nature of the soul, that is the Brahman. In other words, the quality of knowing belongs to the living entities and to the supreme soul because of the quality, that is the eternal quality. Thus, the living entity can also experience the activities of dreams and wakefulness. So we experience in both stages the knower is unchanged, but qualitatively one with the supreme. The knower is whom actually the Kshetrajna. So this there is a field of activities now. This is the field of activities wherein the owner of this particular body is related to the Jivatma. That means the Brahman who is inside, residing inside this body. Whereas he will be known by whom? Super soul. Super soul knows all people. Whereas we living entity will know about our own self. So it is unique to the person. So in knowledge, the living entity is qualitatively one with the Supreme Brahman. We are all maximum we can attain the Brahman. And we cannot compare with the Supreme Brahman. There is lot of difference actually with respect to the quantity. He is unlimited. We are unlimited also. We are very much limited. Okay. So we cannot compare ourselves with the Supreme Lord. But due to the false ego and then under the spell of the three gunas, that too especially in the mode of ignorance and rajo, the combination, we always think we are the great and then we are the God. So when we realize something, especially ignorant person who is not following the Mayavati, so he is better than the person who is following the Mayavati. So that because Mayavatis are very good in the religious, that means the principles and the Veda Shastras, still they are educating the, that means this Brahman is, that attaining the Brahman is like we will become God. So that is a wrong way of preaching. So that makes even the society more degraded actually. There are so many people who think they are God. When they are able to realize themselves, that is the self, they will speak on this platform only. Once they reach the Brahman platform, they behave like a God and they speak like the God and then they exude certain things also. So like that, that's a wrong way of preaching. So one should not follow the Mayavada principle. So even Chaitanya Mahaprabhu in Chaitanya Charitamrita, right now, we should never follow Mayavadis. That has been condemned in this translation. This translation is very wonderful. When a living entity thinking himself different from me, so when he thinks that he is different from the spiritual entity, that means even though we are the qualitatively one with the Supreme Lord, we are different, thinking himself different from me. But what way we are different, that is very important. If we think we are greater than God, that is the wrong way of understanding. If we are able to realize certain things, that we know everything and then we can perform activities similar to God, that is the wrong way of understanding. Whereas it is like how you need to identify with respect to that is eternity, and then under what are the conditions we need to identify oneself with the Supreme Lord is identifying his interest with me, with mine. So what is the interest of the Supreme Lord actually? We have to surrender to him and we have to perform the devotional service for our benefit. Because we have by mistakenly come here and then we are in the Dukkalayam, Ashashvatam, and staying here is any moment it will be suffering only. So the Supreme Lord being the father and mother of us, he doesn't want us to suffer here. That's the reason you better, which action we perform, we'll get the Anandamaya. Whatever action we perform, it leads to the outcome, we always feel that. But what type of action if we perform, it will able to reach the Supreme Lord is only the devotional service. So always glorifying the Lord and always in the Smaranam of the Lord, always performing the Kirtan of the Lord, always hearing about the Lord. So internally developing that taste will always take the living entity very near to the Lord. That means realizing the Lord, and then the sambandha between the Lord also will be realized, and then accordingly the living entity will perform the abhidaya part, and the prayojana will be minimum level, at least will be going back to the Godhead. So we may not be that much elevated, or we may not be like coming back again, even though Lord gives, we want to preach that type of attitude. If one is not developing, at least we can go back to the Godhead. So that difference we should know. So he becomes interested in his bodily expansions. So that means if the person is thinking about on the bodily platform, if he thinks he's puffed up with his own pride and then his own status and all, obviously the expansion of the family will be the primary criteria. See, here one must understand, Lord has sent us here, and everything, the what is the environment has been also provided in such a manner we can survive. So everything is under the control of the Supreme Lord, and one should get educated actually. So what is the real purpose of us staying here, and then what action we have to perform, and what is the ultimate goal of the life. If a person is not striving to know all those things, obviously he'll be working on the bodily platform. So only the expansion of the parivar will be there. So, and increasing the material possessions. In this way, he is actually preparing himself for, from, that is transmigration from one body to the another. That means after the death, this current death to another death, we are actually preparing. So very nice analogy here it is given. So Mayavada philosophy, one should never follow, because the conception of Supreme Brahman and the living entity are equal not only in quality but also in quantity. See, there are 3-4 conditions. It has been very well said here. Living entity forgets his constitutional position and he tries to become one with the Supreme and his conditional life. That time the condition. When the conditional life begins, the first is when we forget the Supreme Lord and we think we are the great, and then we'll perform the endeavors to become greatness also. That is first thing. Second one is, not only in quality, we are quantity also, we are equal. So that time also the conditioned life for the jiva begins. And if one forgets the difference between the jiva and the Paramatma, that means the Supreme Lord and the living entity, that time also the conditional life begins. Very nicely this purport has been given. I think one must think why we have come here. That will be a bigger question for us. So if we think about that, the answers are here itself actually. Why we have come here. So why Lord has sent us here. So when we have this type of thought process and we perform our action, obviously when we forget Krishna, then I think we have to come back here. Conditional means taking that is from one body to another body, we are preparing ourselves. That means making this death, after born, death is inevitable, we have to die. But after the death, what is the future life, one must know. If they don't have the vision of that, and again they are going to get ready for the another birth, another body, and then that body also has to get ready for the death. So that we cannot avoid. So these are the things we have to keep in the mind. So one must strive above that. So what is the root cause of this? So because, can anyone speak on that? Why we, more than this, after coming here, how we develop such type of attitude to get another body?
Desires, Mataji. We have ultimate means desire. We have unending desires.
Yes.
We create the cycle.
Yes, material desires especially. Correct, na? When we are having more material desires, obviously we'll be coming back again and again here. And here, Mayavada philosopher, Tat Tvam Asi, that means you are the same as God. Yes, we are same as God in one aspect, that is the eternal nature, because the Atma never dies. It cannot be cut, it cannot be dried, it cannot be soaked. Okay, so it cannot be burnt. So this it is like similar in the characteristics of the Paramatma. So it is always eternal. So it should be in the blissful, in the transcendental mode actually. That is the original characteristics of the Atma. But because of the forgetfulness and we want to lord it over here, and then we perform the endeavors for that, correct now? And then we feel that we are the God. So because of all these characteristics, everyone have come here because of that reason only, either one of the thing. So, and then we are put into birth and death again. So, Tat Tvam Asi applies the terms of, because we human have we are on the marginal potency, because our actions make us either to get into the liberated mode or again come back and go down also in the degraded way. So, in the marginal potency. So, like the sun is the source of the sunshine. Whereas if the and the sunshine is like the Jivatmas and sun is the single person, that is the Supreme Lord. If the sunshine thinks it is it is same as the sun, so from where the source, from which source the sunshine is coming, that is wrong. That means in the quantitative. Qualitatively, there is no difference between the sun and the sunshine because both are same. It is the source of the heat and the light. Whereas if the sunshine or the sunlight thinks that I am great or I am only making the environment great, so then obviously that is the wrong way, because it's the unlimited, there is a energy of the Lord which has been spread all over here. So, and He is the source, sun is the source. So that one thing we need to think about here. There is heat and sunlight, that's what it is been given in the sun, and also in the sunshine also we have the heat and light. Thus they are qualitatively one, but one should not forget that the sunshine rests on the sun. Without sun there is no sunshine. Now are we able to see in the current time? We won't be able to see the sun side, right now, because there is no sun visible to us. So whenever the sun is there, only the sunshine also visible. So without sun, there is no sunshine. Like that, without Paramatma, we are not in the active position. So that one thing we need to, it's a very wonderful analogy. The sunshine is important because of the presence of the sun globe. If there is no sun globe, sunshine, it doesn't have any importance. And there won't be sunshine only. It is not that the sun globe is important because of all pervasiveness of the sunshine. So there is no credit to the sunshine, to the sun. The sun globe, because of sunshine, the sun globe is getting, it's not the way, it is reverse. Because of the sun globe, the sunshine is there, otherwise nothing. So the forgetfulness and misunderstanding is the fact of Maya. So one thing is, I like Mataji told, desires. And that desires also based on the gunas, which guna we are actually getting acquired in either in the ignorance, especially ignorance. So ignorant people will go into the darkest region itself. At least Rajoguna, at least we can come back here and then get some realization if we get the opportunity and we act accordingly, then we may elevate into the Sattvic and then to the Suddha Sattvam. But when a person goes to the Tamsic, so they will be pushed into the lower planetary systems. So there we will not be able to get the chance to come up again. So because of the forgetfulness of one's constitutional position and that of the situation of the, what is the position of the Supreme Lord and what is the position of the living entity, if that difference is not at all seen, then obviously will be coming back here. So even Madhvacharya has also spoken, when one thinks that the living entity is not different in all respects, we are common in only one respect, only the eternal. But in all other respects, we are not common. That we need to understand. So if one thinks that we are same in all respects, then without any doubt they will be acquired with the tamas guna. So, and then there is a downfall for the living entity in their quality of life. So the same species they may not get, and they may go into the animal or even lower based on the activities performed. They may be pushed to the hellish planets or this under Tamisra and all we have studied now in the previous canto, I think the last chapter, hellish planets. in fifth canto, after that is 15th or 16th chapter onwards, the entire planetary system, the spiritual world, material world, all those things we have read. So how actually one attains a particular world also we have studied. Correct, na? So with this, I conclude today's session. It was a wonderful purport. So the more realization we need to think, we should never, the application part, if you think of that, knowing that we are very, very tiny, and then and every action and every moment we are totally dependent on Supreme Lord's mercy. Without his approval, we will not be able to perform anything. Accepting the reverses and then uh, not having, that is getting cleansing the heart by clearing all the unwanted stuff which has been accumulated in the so many births, will help the person to at least to reach to the Godhead actually. So at least to that minimum level, let us try. So rest we leave it to the God. Where we will go, we don't know, but our endeavor should be towards the God, not towards the material opulences. Okay. Thank you all. Any doubts or you want to share any realizations, you please unmute yourself. Hare Krishna.
Wonderful explained, Mataji. Hare Krishna, pranams. The
Pranams.
two analogies are very wonderful,
Yeah,
it's
very
ground
wonderful.
reality. That
Yes.
Brahman and Jiva, comparing with the Surya and that sun and the sun
Fun.
rays, and
Yes.
simultaneously the sun globe
Yeah.
and the sun. There also that we have to realize. The converse is not true. Say in the sense, Jiva is not Diva is dependent on the Supreme Lord, but
Yes.
Supreme Lord is not. That
Every.
ground reality. If you don't realize that Bhadasivi, you go on taking that Janma Murtyu Jara, you will be in that.
So, see this, when one realizes the current position of the jiva, obviously he will, his actions also will get refined.
Yes, Mataji.
So they will strive to at least develop the divine qualities. So first of all, if somebody is criticizing, also they won't as a critics like that. That broader mind, that is simple living and high thinking. That was the Tarak Mantra, which you have heard. That is from the Prabhupada lectures, na. So high thinking, that is very, very important. So one must think about the thinking ability should be on the higher platform, not on the normal platform or in the below platform. Okay. So like even though sometimes some people will be able to forgive, that is in the normal, but some people for every word they will ask the clarification. Correct now?
Yes,
So
Mataji.
that type of attitude will never, it will make us even more sick. The mind will also become sick, body also will become sick, the environment also will become sick, and we will not be peaceful, and we will not allow others also to be peaceful.
Yes.
Correct, na? So when a person is on material platform, this is the situation. It's a common rule based on the how much sensitive the person is. So if they are little bit broader, even not in the spiritual thing, to an extent they will be able to manage. But if they are very, very sensitive, means every word it will be, whether they are able to recollect the whatever they have studied, but they will be able to recollect the dialogue spoken by the opposite person. This is I have experienced in my relative also. Every word a person will repeat actually. One person is like that. Now I am able to map it. So how we will be able to do if something happens there, some people will ask me what happened there. I will not be able to recollect exactly whatever they have spoken. So that is not in my memory. So that's not that way my memory never worked actually. So I may tell the overview what has happened. So exactly the same word to word, some people have that capacity. That means how much they are focused. So now I'm thinking if that type of focus if we have on our reading, that is chanting and all, I think that will elevate us a lot. So sometimes other I felt like telling, but I don't know how the person will take. So better leave it. Let us pray. That's it. Okay, Hare Krishna. So that type of capacity also memory will be there for all the materialistic things. So it's very astonishing actually. Yes. Any other doubts or you want to speak? If not, I think I will conclude the session now. Hare Krishna. Vancha kalpadarubhyascha kripa sindhubhyev cha patitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namah. Ananta Koti Vaishnav Vrinda ki jai, Namacharya Haridas Thakur ki jai. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama 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 Hare